Typically, they win, and why shouldn't they? In reality, no case of the United States government against you is really a fair trial, if you feel me. Then, after they win, they ask for a sentence of more than 3 times what the probation department is recommending. Again, I ask, how is that fair? I read the federal government's summary document regarding the sentencing of MRT, and the charged language they use is both revealing and despicable. You can clearly see their disdain for the constituent community, for the black clergy who have stood with MRT, and mostly for MRT, daring to exercise his constitutional right to even go to trial to defend himself. The feds demanding a 6-year sentence in this case is their way of punishing an uppity Negro who dared to fight back. Let's hope that the judge in this case sees through this racist masquerade and delivers a sentence of time commensurate with the crime, even as MRT appeals this verdict. There are no good times to be black in America, and sometimes are worse than others. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too serious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique the Prima go way back. Tavis Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique the Prima. Go sis. Go sis.
First things first.
Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. This show is First Things First. My first thing every single day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God Almighty, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders and getting it going. Hello, good morning. What's up? Happy Talking Point Tuesday. That's what we do around here on Tuesday. We use our superpower to see through the BS and then we talk about it because somehow discussing it, getting it out in the open. Okay, I'm popular this morning already. Getting it out in the open, all that stuff helps us to process in the brain and not just accept things that do not serve us. Something which is, I think, amazingly common when we just hear stuff, when we absorb stuff through social media or the barbershop or even the TV, the television. So, yeah, let's be conscious about it and remind ourselves to follow the money, look at the source, and decide whether or not what we're saying, what we're hearing, serves us. Certainly, we are entering the thick of talking point season. And you know how we do this. Hour one, we do local. We look to the local, California, left coast, etc. Second hour, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive. We meet a person or focus on a topic. And today it's kind of both. I'm looking forward to meeting this woman. She's an Academy Award nominee, worked on The Little Mermaid, Panther, and much, much more. She is a hair scholar, a natural texture expert, and a stylist to the stars. Camille Friend is going to be on with us hour 3. But of course, we'll be talking about, speaking of hair, and somebody who needs a hair makeover, we'll be talking about the 45th president and his newest, his 4th criminal indictment came down on yesterday. So we'll be talking about that in hour 2. We'll be joined by attorney Nana Gyamfi. And this hour, it's me, you, and the mic, so it's a perfect time to call. Well, this top of the hour, 800-920-1580. We'll be joined at the bottom of the hour by Dion Rambo, who is going to be working with Tavis Smiley to figure out how more small businesses, local enterprises, Black-owned, BIPOC-owned, women-owned businesses can get some of these contracts, can get some of these dollars, of which there are many circulating in Southern California right now. And that's only going to ramp up, right? Because we've got the Olympics coming our way. We've got the World Cup coming our way. And so many times local businesses and smaller companies are left out of the loop. So we'll give you some guidance on how to do that. And we look forward to talking with you as usual. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That is the number to call wherever you might happen to be. Today's show is brought to you by Wealth Management of Long Beach. Wealth Management Financial Advisors. They can help you from everything with your taxes all the way to your personal finance and building that generational wealth. Check them out at wealthmanagementlb.com. That is wealthmanagementlb.com. All right, we got a lot to talk about and not enough time to do it as usual. Actually, what am I talking about? We got 3 hours. I need to stop complaining. I could talk to you all day after my former show where I had half the time. But hey, there's so much going on. It seems like the time just flies when we're on the radio. Interesting, today's LA Times are talking about the idea of rent control and how some of these smaller cities are making moves. Kind of, I guess you could say, following in the footsteps of Inglewood. They are trying to put a cap on these skyrocketing rents. And these are areas where this never used to be an issue, like Maywood, apparently. Earlier this year, they enacted a 60-day rent freeze. This is a smaller city within the southeast portion of Los Angeles. And then this summer, last week actually, they approved a rent stabilization ordinance that's meant to take effect when that rent freeze disappears, so that the annual rent can't go up more than 4%. And apparently this is something that's happened in Cudahy, Bell Gardens. Now, we know because of the way rent control is regulated by law in the state of California, that won't apply to all units. Newer units cannot be rent controlled because of this dumb law called Costa Hawkins, which we've tried to repeal either 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure which, and it has failed because of talking points. Because people, it reminds me of when the state of California ended affirmative action, which was the remedy to, centuries of Black people, Latino people being kept out of higher education, especially those elite institutions. But the way the GOP spins it, it makes it sound like you're voting to get more freedom when you're voting against freedom. This is the same thing that happened with rent control. They scared landlords. They scared people into thinking that they would not have the ability to raise the rents in their units ever, or that they would be suddenly at the whim of tenants. But really all we were trying to do is repeal Costa Hawkins so that cities would have the ability to do what Maywood and Cudahy have done. Now, these cities are controlling the units that are older, because those are the only ones they can currently rent control. And we're not allowed to do vacancy control, meaning when I move out or you move out of your apartment, the landlord can raise the rent as much as they want to, as much as the market will bear. All of this is super important because this is going to be back on the ballot. This is going to be back on the ballot for voters to allow rent control. And I think it's important for us to get ahead of these talking points and understand that what this law would do is give cities and counties the option to control rent for all units, even newer units, the option to enact vacancy control. It would not be automatic. Each city, each county would have to put that before their own voters, or their own lawmakers would have to present policies. So it wouldn't automatically. But what it would do is give us tools to keep rents from going crazy. A city like Maywood, where 73% of the population are renters, a lot of LA has a high number of renters. And I'm sorry, but there's price gouging going on. Because, yes, I understand landlords have a right to make money, and there are some prices that have gone through the roof, i.e., like utilities and maintenance fees, everything. Any housing supply thing has gone up. But the kind of rent increases that we're seeing are way beyond the inflation rate, which means people are gouging. And that means it's even hit the poorer eastern cities, low income, mostly immigrant cities. And now it's what I'm always talking about, where the workers that you're counting on to staff your fast food restaurant, your hospital, to watch your kids can't afford to live anywhere, not even in East LA. That's insane. And now some of these smaller cities are starting to take action. I need us to get our mind around the fact that the rent control measure that we're going to be faced with in the next election only gives cities and counties the option to control rent. It gives them the option to implement vacancy control, to stabilize apartment costs when people move out and get new tenants, which takes away some of the incentives for landlords to just kick people out. It's just the option. And it's high time, what is it, the fourth or fifth time's the charm, that we gave ourselves more tools to provide affordable, truly affordable housing so that people don't end up on the streets. 800-920-1580. I would love to hear from you. As always, I'm Dominique DePrima, and you're listening to KBLA, Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Draft fees. Banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right.
Yeah.
La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vid. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, back to me, 800-920-1580. And I want to clarify that there is a law that supposed to limit rent increases to 5% a year across the state of California. But the thing about it is it doesn't apply to newer units because of that dumb Costa Hawkins bill that is hanging around from, I can't remember when. It's been on the books for quite a while. We need to get rid of it. And there are lots of landlord groups that are coming out with the talking point that if you add any further tools for rent control, it means no one will build new developments. And I call BS. I mean, look at how fast these luxury units are going up. Now, again, how is it disincentivizing it? It means that cities and counties will have the ability to do further rent control, to control the rents on the newer units, to look at vacancy control, and maybe some of the things that the city of Los Angeles, the city council put in place to protect tenants can catch on statewide. Things like just cause eviction, where they can't kick you out for any reason. There has to be a real, legit reason, of which there are a list, right? Where if the landlord raises the rent so much, 10% or more, and you can't afford it, forcing you to move, they have to help pay for that move. That's the policy now in the city of Los Angeles, where if you are being forced out through an eviction, even if it's from non-paid rent, if you qualify, meaning you're a low income, you may be able to get an attorney to go with you to court. Stayhousedla.org, stayhousedla.org. There are rights in this specific city. They don't extend throughout the county. They don't extend through all of the cities, but maybe we will see some other cities following suit. But I think the first step is to supersede all these talking points coming from apartment associations and developers who simply don't want any limits to how much they can profit off the basic human need for housing. Carl from LA, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Hey, I never knew there was so many Europeans on those islands over there. I mean, every time I look around on the news, they interviewing some Europeans, some rich European. Hey, but anyway,
well, Hawaii is expensive. I don't know if I've only been there once, but it ain't cheap.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why it's probably just a vacation spot. But hey, look, a lot of people have got their restaurants over there. And they
I mean, look, what about the indigenous Hawaiians? It's not a vacation spot for them. It's their homeland.
Well, every time I look at the news now, I'm seeing them interview some European, white, rich European. Hey, Kamala Harris is on the road. I caught her in a couple of interviews this week. She's talking about how these Republicans are trying to bring down the Democratic Party, and they had a split screen with Al Sharpton in the background. I was like, oh, wow, what's this going on? But anyway, hey, she wants that job again. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's a good thing.
I feel like the White House, I don't know what, maybe this is just my perception, Carl, but I get way too many emails from the White House, just not personal emails, just, press emails. And I feel like they've been promoting the vice president more, utilizing her more, and gearing up for election mode. And that's a good thing because it probably means that they are not trying to replace Kamala Harris in that role. I think it would be a huge mistake if the Biden administration tries to do that. And it seems like they're not.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that she gets a second term and, maybe she could do something for black folks like that reparations program thing going on. That's what I'm
not sure how the vice president would make that happen, but, keep hope alive, Carl.
Keep hope alive. Hey, Dominique, the next time you have the mayor on, would it be possible if I could call in and ask her a question about sanitation and street maintenance workers, hiring some brothers and sisters in that position? and and where are the Section 8 emergency housing vouchers going to turn? When are they going to turn into regular Section 8 housing vouchers? Because you got an emergency housing voucher to put you in a hotel, then put you into an apartment, and then it's supposed to turn into a Section 8 housing voucher later on down the road. I like to ask her those two questions about jobs for black folks.
Well, you know what? I will probably will open up the phones for questions next time the mayor is on. You probably get one though, because
one question would be great.
Get your one in, and let other folks have a chance. But yeah, those are great questions and important ones. I think I've heard her speak on the housing vouchers on the Black Press calls, and how really the biggest problem seems to be the fact that there's not housing where people are accepting those vouchers.
And I heard you speak. I heard you speaking on these what do you call it? These high rent apartment buildings. What did you call them a little while ago?
Luxury.
Luxury apartments. Yeah, they're going up everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
So apparently it's not disincentivized. That's just a dumb talking point.
Yeah. Thank you, Dominique, for giving me time.
It's always good to hear from you, Carl. And, the concerns that you always put forth, it has to do with keeping people housed. And I know it's a huge challenge for this mayor, this administration. What folks are, I think, not tracking them maybe the way we should be is the fact that, L.A. and California is the epicenter. I spent, I was up in the Bay for 50th anniversary of hip hop, and then the tribute and celebration that we did for my mother, poet Dion Rambo.7A. I hadn't spent that much time in the Bay in quite a while. It's bad there. The unhoused situation is bad there. I'd say, I don't have the data. I'm talking about what I saw with my eyes. It appears to be worse, more acute than it is here. In terms of people living outside everywhere, and the sort of entrenched poverty and, lack of resources. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about, showers and plumbing and sanitation services and whatnot to people who are living in makeshift shacks, not just the tents that we have here, but a lot more makeshift shacks and structures. But my point is, we think California is the epicenter, and it is. What we've learned from the recent data is that these are not folks coming from out of town. The myth is there are people coming from out of town because the weather is good in Cali. Turns out most of the people who are unhoused here are from California. And they've been pushed out either by high rents, they had a health or mental health crisis, or both, which made them lose a job, and then they could no longer pay for that rent, and or domestic violence situations, right, where the person flees because the situation at home is dangerous and they have nowhere to go. And then the other thing, of course, drugs. We know drugs. And I feel like there's starting to be a bit more conversation about what the drugs are doing to people's ability to thrive and survive and be healthy, not just physically, but mentally. My impression is that, and I would love to see more research done on this, that this new round of drugs, the fentanyl and trank and whatever else they're putting, additives that they're putting in street drugs is, and not just street drugs, illegit pharmaceuticals that are coming from Mexico or being sold over the internet, is deteriorating people's brains quicker. It's getting them addicted quicker. It's getting them into a state of mental health crisis quicker and more acutely. That's from a non-doctor, i.e. me, just based on observation, but also conversations that I've had with people who are working in shelters, working with the unhoused, working with folks in community-based organizations that provide services to people who are addicted and facing all of the issues that come with that. It's logical that if we're now in an era where you have fentanyl, which can kill someone in a tiny dose, and tranq, which is a flesh-eating, which is a drug that causes a flesh-eating syndrome in the body, that there would be deterioration of the brain and the mental health capacity to be whole and be well. It's logical to me that if a drug will eat your flesh or kill you in a tiny amount, it would ravage your brain and possibly your mental health. So when we talk about getting people stabilized so that they can be well and be whole, when we talk about services, permanent housing with supportive services, I think we have to get away from the 1990s notion of what these streets are like and what people are facing when they're living without shelter. We're going to meet Dion Rambo next after news, traffic, and sports, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The surviving suspect in the Vanessa Guillen case will spend 30 years in prison. Cecily Aguilar was sentenced in Texas on Monday after pleading guilty to accessory to murder in the U.S. Army soldier's 2020 disappearance and death. Authorities say Aguilar, the girlfriend of murder suspect Aaron Robinson, helped him bury Guillen's body and lied to investigators about where he was when Guillen went missing. Robinson killed himself before Guillen's body was found. A near-mint condition of African-American basketball great Michael Jordan rookie card will be up for grabs next month in Iowa's unclaimed property auction. The Treasurer's Office has had the card authenticated, but no one is saying exactly how much it's worth. The auction is set to begin September 5th and runs through the 20th. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The hottest team in baseball is back in action tonight. The Dodgers take on Milwaukee with an 8-game winning streak. A very improved pitching staff has helped the Dodgers blow up with a 12-1 record in August. In July, the Dodgers pitching staff had a 6.18 earned run average. The ERA is down to 2.22 in the first 13 games of August. Former Clippers coach Doc Rivers is one of the new analysts for ESPN's #1 NBA broadcast team. The other is Hall of Famer Doris Burke. Rivers and Burke are replacing Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. If the Clippers renew trade talks with Philadelphia for James Harden, the Clippers will have to get creative. They don't have a first-round pick until 2027. Any player on the roster except Paul George and Kawhi Leonard might have to be included in the discussions. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for the Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job paid training, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus are now even putting their money in your pocket with a one-time $2,500 sign-on bonus. Let us connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in your community, then we invite you to join the team. Start your journey by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more information, visit culvercitybus.com or call the live customer service operator at 310-253-6500. Again, 350-253-6500.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, thank you for waking up with KBLA 1580. Tell a friend. Don't forget to check us out on socials. I've been on a roll, Miles. I've really been doing better with posting my stuff, and I'm going to keep it going because so much is going on in my life and in the world. So check us out, KBLA 1580 on Twitter. X. On Facebook, on Instagram. I love Instagram. And, of course, on YouTube, where I'm broadcasting right now, youtube.com. It's KBLA 1580. And I'm at DePrima Radio, DIPRIMA. And then radio, please check us out. We are so happy to be engaged with you, one and all. I hope your first day of school went rather smoothly. I'm joined this morning for the second half of the hour by somebody who has helped many a local business owner to embrace the abundance of contracting opportunities. He's an LA County Commissioner, a strategic business leader, and a seasoned entrepreneur. He's been bringing opportunities to the city of LA for over 15 years. Dion Rambo, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So you are teaming up with the boss, Mr. Tavis Smiley. Yeah. What a combination, Rambo and Smiley, to try to get some money in the hands of some small business owners here in LA. Tell us about that.
I am. We're doing Contract Ready. I've been doing it for about 4 years by myself solo. I never even brought in a sponsor until I brought in Lendistry. I'm very protective of the audience. It's a free event. About 900 people, Dominique. You should check it out. It's huge. A lot of things that you talk about, this has to do with that. You know, I'm really big on inclusion. You know, there's billions of dollars. Everybody knows all that, but everyone really didn't know how easy it was to actually get into contracts. So we just make it a lot simpler. It's always been self-funded. Until Lendistry came on board to help me. And this is like the first time ever, Dominique, I even partner with somebody. When I met Tavis, I was like, you're the one. We got to do this together. I need a big guy in the room to make sure I could just grab that stage. So it's all about contracts. It's all about small businesses getting a piece of it. It's how I built all my companies. I went off this road, on contracts. I don't do as much now, Dominique. I kind of, do my telehealth vans and all this other stuff, but it all starts with contracts.
Well, okay, so you said everybody knows all that. I think we vaguely know it, but I don't know how specifically we know it. What I mean by that is, yes, we hear, okay, there's all this money coming into LA. They're rebuilding LAX, right? And reimagining it. We have the Olympics coming. We have the World Cup coming. And we see all of this work going on. And then, of course, that doesn't even take into account the Biden infrastructure bill, right?
Yeah.
But how much money are we really talking about, and how much are Black-owned businesses and BIPOC-owned businesses currently getting of that pie?
It's a very good question. It's one of those things where, you'll have somebody in your family saying they get contracts. They go after contracts. And it's one of those things where at Thanksgiving when they say it, you just kind of go, oh, okay, that's good, but without really understanding what it means. What it means by you're right. The contract world simply means there are X amount of dollars available, which means, let's say the county has to spend, let's say, $30 billion a year. That means that $30 billion has to be contractually given to someone to do the work. That could be administrative. That could be, be it if it's construction. You're right. Construction, professional services. I'm professional services. Rambo House, my company, is like a PR company, marketing company, or training, right? And then there's commodities. Let's say you do T-shirts.
These are all categories of contracts.
These are all categories. Yeah, these are like three main categories of contracts. Commodities is you want to sell pens, or and so these are three categories of contracts. So most businesses fit within that, within contracts. I mean, even if they're trying to buy hair for something, you would get contract information on hair that they're trying to buy for, let's say, cancer patients. So all this would go through contract world, right? Because they have to spend this amount of money. The city spends about $10 billion LA, and then the county spends about 40 to 60 billion in contracts. Now, what that means if you're a minority, what that means that's very important is 20 to 30% has to be given to local business owners. So meaning if you're coming from, the reason they did that, that's being certified. The reason they did that is people were coming from different states, taking our, we're one of the largest counties, right, in the nation. So people were coming to LA, taking our contracts, but they were living in like Texas.
Oh, yeah. Well, we saw that. I mean, we saw that with county jobs, like people working for the fire department in LA living in Arizona. Craziness. Yep. So, yeah, that makes sense because California is like a whole country. But now they're mandating this 20 to 30% has to be local. And you're saying that provides opportunities for BIPOC businesses, for Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses?
Yeah, you know what the difference, though? The difference with our era versus like when other people say it, because I hear people talk about it all the time. I don't even go to networking events, Dominique. I don't even go to events that, honestly, and I don't go to anything. I think it's just a lot of just talk and people say network. That's not true. You don't have to network. You have to do all this stuff that people, I think, just fluff. It's not hard. What I did is, so once my little brother, just have to get personal for a second to understand why I'm passionate about it. I don't make any money from any small business. But the reason I'm passionate about it is once my little brother was killed, I'm from South Central. So once my little brother was killed, I had to understand how to make sure I didn't know how to help him the entire time. And I realized, oh, my God, my entire life, everybody around me has been dying or we don't understand things. A friend of mine told me about this world of contracts. Rambo, if you get in this thing, trust me, man. I'm like, it's too hard. Education wasn't really taught heavily in L.A. Contract sounds hard. But once I got into it, I did some things for Grisetti. And as I got more and more into it, Dominique, I was like, all I have to do is break things down into pieces for minorities to get it. And that's what I've been doing. I've been breaking the role of getting a contract into pieces. Literally, that's all I do, Dominique, at my events, is we break it down into pieces. That's why we have the largest contract winners in L.A., which are minority, which are really just because I'm simplifying how freaking easy it is to just get your stuff together.
I mean, first of all, let me say I'm really sorry about your brother. I don't want to just skip over that. And it's beautiful that your brother. What's your brother's name?
He was Lamar. My brother's name was Lamar. This started everything with the moment he was killed, and I used to hear him crying, saying he don't know what to do. And at the same time, I didn't know what to do. So both of us were sleeping. I'm like 30-something years old at that point. And I was at my mom's house. He's at my mom's house. And we didn't know what to do. We were in L.A. There were no opportunities for us. Every job I was trying to get, they'd fire me, or black men had issues. And just tried until I realized, let me do something myself. I'm a huge, huge advocate. No one could tell me anything other than entrepreneur.
I mean, I think it's beautiful that you were able to take the tragedy of losing Lamar and turn it into opportunity for others. It's just really sad that it took that. But you keep saying it's easy, it's easy, it's easy, it's easy. So when we come forward, I want you to explain why it's easy, because it's the opposite of what we usually hear. It's hard, it's complex, it's a labyrinth of paperwork that the average business owner couldn't handle. You're saying just the opposite. It's music to my ears, but I want to know why you say that when we continue on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and it's powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community, is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. Really working, actually. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Find a righteous rage, and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
I love that spot, Dion Rambo. You and Tavis Smiley, the new team on this project of yours called Contract Ready, but you say contracts. And I'm saying, okay, you say it's so easy. And I have a small business myself, and I'm one of those people that's like, oh, that seems like too much of a hassle. I'll just keep my little clientele. But talk to me. Why is it easy? What makes it easy?
First of all, I don't know. There's nothing. First of all, you have to own a business in LA if you're a minority. I don't even, not disrespecting anyone who works for the most part. I think that era is kind of coming to an end, especially with AI. But you have to own a business. That's number one. The only thing that I've seen as consistent is contracts. So let's say, for example, you sold socks. The only thing consistent with you becoming, let's say, successful at socks It's contracts. There is no street corners you can get on and everyone's walking in front. Not even in the mall. My friends are the general manager of malls. There's not even in malls anymore. Contracts is the only consistent source of income for years that you could have. So I tell churches to do it with your nonprofits. I tell for-profit companies to do it. You get emails. You get emails. There's, when they come on September 16th, they'll hear about Ramp LA. These are free emails the city and the county and other companies created for you to get emails every morning, Dominique, just for you to respond to things that they need. The difference, though, I'm going to tell you one of the differences, though, with what makes contracts tricky. People want contracts to be whatever they want, and that's not what a contract is. A contract is, hey, this is what we need. We only have, 100,000, or hey, this is what we need. We only have $1 million to do this outreach. That's what they're looking for, people to respond to what they need. Because remember, like I said, there's, 30 plus billion, there's $1 trillion with a T coming down for infrastructure money. $1 trillion. Hey, Dominique, on September 16th, Caltrans, Department of Caltrans themselves is there. I've never had a prime, a large company, a large agency at my events. I never let them come. With you guys, Tavis is bringing Caltrans. That's how big this is. Caltrans themselves are going to be there. So imagine with infrastructure money coming, I'm curious what Caltrans, California Transportation, which is a collection of California coming together, I'm curious what they're going to say to this audience about infrastructure money, about this $1 trillion. I'm a commissioner. I'm gonna put my commissioner hat on for a second. I'm not a regular commissioner. I was brought on by the chief executive office themselves. That's me. So I'm very innovative. I'm very sought after in terms of innovation and things. I'm really good at this stuff. I don't know what's more important for a small business than contracts. The reason it's easy, Dominique, and the reason people like you would be killing the game, Dominique. Oh my, what? You're like the Oprah Winfrey of LA when it comes to communications and understanding the voice in our community. There is no other Dominique Dupree. Like, you're the only interview. I told Tavis, this is probably the second time we've talked. I've talked to you more than any other interview I've ever had. I've never done interviews other than when we talked about 2 years ago. You're the only person. That's how amazing you are.
Thank you.
I've never shook your hand, but that's how amazing you are. So in contracts, of course you'd kill the game. All a contract is responding to questions, Dominique, that they want to know. Dominique, they're asking you, hey, with your company, we need to outreach to minority women about this new program that we have. We only have a budget of $250,000 for this year, and we need your interpretation of how you would, answer this question, which is how would you make brochures?
Right.
Okay. Answer this question. That kind of thing. That's what you would answer one by one, and you'd submit it with your budget. That's a contract. That's what you're responding to.
Right. So, and you've laid out, all this money that's out there, but also don't most city and county contractors need to be certified and registered with the city and the county? And what is that process?
Thank you. So first of all, they could do it with Metro. My go-to, everyone's offering it. My go-to, which is a free one, is Metro. Metro has a certification. So if you go to Google and just put in small business in Metro or certification, you'll go to, I think it's like go2b.org, something like that. But when they come on 16th, they'll see how easy it is. I'll even have somebody from Metro come. But all it is, Dominique, when they go get certified, being certified just says that you're officially local, right? Remember we talked earlier about people coming from other countries or states taking it. So they just need you to be certified, showing you're local. But to be honest with you, Dominique, you don't need to be certified to get contracts. It's just being certified shows the city locally that if we give Dominique this $250,000 a year, she'll pay taxes locally. It just gives you an extra push. But ultimately, remember, the number one goal of this money, the number one goal from the county and the city is they need the work done. So, yeah, being certified helps.
Okay, but these are great answers to a lot of the, things. Maybe they're self-inflicted obstacles, but obstacles nonetheless. One is that the county, for example, you can be registered or certified as a county business, but then there's a very small select group that they actually use because they're on a list of preferred providers.
A preferred vendor list. So that's different. That's a different. So sometimes what you can do. So let's say there's no contract available, but Department of Parks and Rec just wants to create a list of people they can always pull from. So that's a different. So you can go for contracts because they need something, or you can sit on the list and say, hey, when you need something, Dominique's company's here. When you need something, Tasha's company's here, and then they'll call you. It's called just called being on like a master list. So that's a really good idea. So you get into the contracting world with your business and your consulting or your accounting business. We need more accountants, Dominique. The minority community in contracting need more accounting and compliance, because a lot of these other men who are truck drivers, all this money is going to them, and they don't know how to manage their money.
Right. Hold that thought. I unfortunately can't help you with the accounting part, but I think these are fascinating questions. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're talking with Dion Rambo. Time flies when you're on the radio. You were just telling us about contracts. Your event coming up, of course, on the 16th is free. And you were talking about the master list and how that's separate from the contract thing. And I guess the rumor that I heard is if you're not on the master list, you ain't getting the contract. But it sounds like you're saying that is not true.
That's not true. You can go after any contract. If you got into certain systems, when you come on September 16th, go to KBLA1580.com. It's mad simple. Just go register. But when you come, you only need to come to one meeting. I've had people come to one meeting and they've already gotten contracts and they're thanking it. They don't have to come back. They come back because they get more information because they realize 90% of the other rooms the people in the room aren't doing it. So, yeah, you can go get contracts. You'll get emails every day, Dominique, from all different platforms saying, hey, we need this service. Hey, we need this service. And all you got to do is respond. This is what I can do for that. And here's the thing. People think contracts, they're guessing. No, they're asking you questions, and all you're doing is answering them.
That's why you said it's not what you want it to be. This is what we need. Can you fill it? And you got to prove that you can. By the way, this is at the LA Airport Marriott at 5855 West Century Boulevard. It's free, as you said, but it's from 10 to 12:30 on Saturday, and they should register ahead of time, even though it's free.
Yeah, register. The register, let us know how many of you guys are coming. Caltrans would like to see it. KBLA would like to see it. I'd like to see it. Last time we were at 900. We usually average around 800 to 900. So this is going to be historic because first of all, you got Tavis in the building talking about, and he's a pioneer to entrepreneurial and community change. So between KBLA and Rambo House coming together, I'm excited.
Yep. Well, congratulations to you on all of your success in this space. And now, taking the time to help others. What else would you like to say with this last minute here that, you want people to know about the event or your work with contracts?
In the world of contracts, I'd say it's easier than you think. Stop listening to everybody. If you come one time, you could see, there's too many people. They're different. I would just say our audience is starting to diversify because a lot of minorities aren't taking advantage of it. So I can say that my audience is starting to diversify. There's a reason I have so many followers in the small business world getting contracts. But I really do need us to take it serious, especially with AI coming. We don't have a choice. Like it's speeding up. The entrepreneurship, we know is important, but with entrepreneurship, where are you going to get that constant stream of income? Listen, Dominique, last thing, they don't even have to be the one. You don't even have to be the one to do the work. Get the contract and sub it out to others to do it for you. We need to stop thinking like slaves and start thinking like owners of contracts, not people who stop being workers.
Not owners of people, but yeah, it's a great point. It's a mentality that others have that allows them to accumulate wealth. Dion Rambo, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Always, Dominique. Thank you.
All right, news, traffic, and sports. And then attorney Nana Jaffe is going to help us unpack the fourth criminal indictment of he who shall not be named. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The surviving suspect in the Vanessa Guillen case will spend 30 years in prison. Cecily Aguilar was sentenced in Texas on Monday after pleading guilty to accessory to murder in the U.S. Army soldier's 2020 disappearance and death. Authorities say Aguilar, the girlfriend of murder suspect Aaron Robinson, helped him bury Guillen's body and lied to investigators about where he was when Guillen went missing. Robinson killed himself before Guillen's body was found. A near-mint condition of African-American basketball great Michael Jordan rookie card will be up for grabs next month in Iowa's unclaimed property auction. The treasurer's office has had the card authenticated, but no one is saying exactly how much it's worth. The auction is set to begin September 5th and runs through the 20th. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The hottest team in baseball is back in action tonight. The Dodgers take on Milwaukee with an 8-game winning streak. A very improved pitching staff has helped the Dodgers blow up with a 12-1 record in August. In July, the Dodgers pitching staff had a 6.18 earned run average. The ERA is down to 2.22 in the first 13 games of August. Former Clippers coach Doc Rivers is one of the new analysts for ESPN's #1 NBA broadcast team. The other is Hall of Famer Doris Burke. Rivers and Burke are replacing Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. If the Clippers renew trade talks with Philadelphia for James Harden, the Clippers will have to get creative. They don't have a first-round pick until 2027. Any player on the roster except Paul George and Kawhi Leonard might have to be included in the discussions. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As black folk, we know how to face tragedy and not fall into despair. And yet sometimes the points of pain are felt so acutely, especially when we know full well that we're being treated unfairly by our so-called justice system that at times appears to be anything but just. After more than 30 years of public service, Mark Willie Thomas is set to be sentenced on Monday, August 21st for his conviction on bribery and conspiracy in a federal corruption trial. As you well know, Willie Thomas was found not guilty on 12 of the 19 counts the feds brought against him. This is not your typical corruption case. No lavish trips, no victim, no cash in a brown bag or stashed away in a freezer, no illegal contributions from a wealthy donor, no money received by the accused, no use of taxpayer dollars. There is therefore no need to incarcerate Ridley Thomas to protect the community. Indeed, the probation department has recommended a mere 18-month sentence. But the feds, they want MRT to serve 6 years. 6 years. How is that fair? This happens far too often to defendants who just happen to look a lot like you and me. First, they target you. Then they overcharge you. Then they fight to keep certain folk off the jury. Then they spend millions of your tax dollars prosecuting a victimless $100,000 criminal allegation. Then, typically, they win, and why shouldn't they? In reality, no case of the United States government against you is really a fair trial, if you feel me. Then, after they win, they ask for a sentence of more than 3 times what the probation department is recommending. Again, I ask, how is that fair? I read the federal government's summary document regarding the sentencing of MRT, and the charged language they use is both revealing and despicable. You can clearly see their disdain for the constituent community, for the black clergy who have stood with MRT, and mostly for MRT, daring to exercise his constitutional right to even go to trial to defend himself. The feds demanding a 6-year sentence in this case is their way of punishing an uppity Negro who dared to fight back. Let's hope that the judge in this case sees through this racist masquerade and delivers a sentence of time commensurate with the crime, even as MRT appeals this verdict. There are no good times to be black in America, and sometimes are worse than others. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comment.